I was 2 or 3 years old. The girl across the street used to come over and show me how to do my letters on a magnetic letterboard. I was 2 or 3 years old, and the girl across the street used to come over by herself and show me how to do the letters on my letterboard. I remember she had a sweet voice. She was pretty. She was soft. I wanted to be what she was. So one day, with my mom in the living room, and she was a girl, I said to my mom, "I'm a girl." And Mom said lovingly, "No, you're a boy." When I was 13, I would go to Vernon Park Mall with my parents, and the girls at that mall were not just good looking. And the girls at that mall were not just good looking; they were impossibly good looking. They made me want to shout and be noticed by them. After that, I wanted to be like them, but I didn't want to be a girl. No, hell no. I grew up. I wanted to be I wanted to be as impossibly good looking to these impossibly good looking girls as they were impossibly good looking to me. And I have ever since. In 1993, however, I found out that I was not good looking. And it wrecked me, destroyed me. In 1993, I saw a show on 2020 where this man got cosmetic surgery to reconstruct his entire face to look differently. And I thought to myself, I felt a flood of fresh air come over me. So it is possible to reconstruct my face to look like Tom Cruise. In 1990, December, I was washing my hair in the shower and my hair started coming out. I was alarmed. I started losing my hair. I started taking Rogaine. I started taking Propecia in 1999. Bald is not beautiful. I'd rather push a Chevy from one end of hell and back and forth for 1,000 years with a head full of hair than go to heaven with thinning hair. A bald man is not a complete man. When I was 13 years old, I used to fantasize about the perfect girl. And in my fantasy, I noticed she had long forearms. So I began to desire to have long forearms like she did. Only I wanted mine to be longer than hers. And when I found out in 1995, when I first started measuring forearms, that mine were not as long as I had hoped. Sometimes they were longer than the girls who were short, but the girls who were tall, the girls who were 5'6" or taller, had arms as long as or longer than mine. And this devastated me. This made me so that I could not achieve erection anymore. I have not had an honest, good to God erection since 1996. And now, a few years back, I started having erectile dysfunction, and this whole bottle of Viagra doesn't work. But I did find out a few years back that Dr. Joe Paley does cosmetic limb lengthening, so he could take your forearm, break your bones, your two forearm bones, and screw that contraption into both sides of the broken bone, and over the period of 6 months, slowly stretch your forearms, your limbs to the desired length. $200,000, but I began praying and wrestling with God, and I think God's allowed my elbow to wrist bones to grow longer. They're almost as long as I want them to be. I want them to be 11 and a half inches long, I think. Back then my left forearm was as much as 10 3/4 of an inch long, and my right one was struggling to be 10 and a half inches long. Now, This is almost 11 inches long. My right forearm, my left forearm, sometimes it looks just a tad bit longer than 11 inches long. But now I got this goddamn erectile dysfunction. And this whole bottle of Viagra isn't working, and I'm pissed off. A life without the ecstasy of climax is a life in hell. A life without being able to pig out without getting fat is a life in hell. Even if I do become a rock star, what's the fucking point? I only keep living because I don't want to die. If there's truly life after death, and Jesus has saved me and He'll forgive me in the end, I'll just keep cursing God until I get what I want, until God turns me over to the devil to kill me. Because I began singing karaoke in 1995, February the 4th. And I found that I could get attention from the girls, the good-looking girls, by singing karaoke. In 1999, I wrote my first song. I started in 2001 going to the annual music convention. I learned how to write songs. I took voice lessons. If only I was a good-looking guy. If only I could have this while looking in my 20s. Because young is good. Young is hip. I'd rather push a Chevy from hell. I'd rather push a Chevy in the lake of fire for 1,000 years looking 20 years old than go directly to heaven looking middle-aged. Middle-aged is not pretty. It's old, clumsy, worn out, like a bed sheet would look at. A man's fucked a bunch of whores all night long.